Welcome back to another video, my friend. I'm Blake and you're you, and this is the starter deck called Lifeline. It is green and white, and I actually don't think it's that bad. So I'm going to make just a few minimal cuts, and then we're going to take this deck in diamond rank on the ladder and see if we can win. So first off, let's just go over the deck as is, starting at the top end. 1 Valkyrie Harbinger. This is a 4/5 flying lifelink. At the beginning of each end step, if you gain 4 or more life, create a 4/4 white angel. Quite good at the top. 2 Pillardrop Rescuer. This is the one at 5 mana. It's a 5 mana 2/2 flying, and when it comes into the battlefield, you return target creature with mana value 3 or less to your hand. Not that good coming back to the hand. Definitely a card we would like to cut, but we'll go ahead and see. Also, we have 1 Drizzt Do'Urden. 3/3 double strike. When it enters the battlefield, create a 4/1 legendary green cat with trample. Whenever any creature dies, if it had power greater than Drizzt's power, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to the difference. A good finisher, not lifelink synergies, so probably not the best fit for this deck, but it'll get the job done, I think. 2 copies of You Meet in a Tavern. We get to choose one. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of creature cards from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest onto the bottom of your library in any order. Okay. Or creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. Probably a pretty decent finisher in the deck. 1 Accomplished Alchemist. It's a 4 mana. Tap, add 1 mana of any color, or tap, add X mana of any one color, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. That's probably pretty good. 1 Icingdeath Frost Tyrant. This is 4/3 flying vigilance. Whenever it dies, you create Frost Tongue, a legendary white equipment with equipped creature gets +2/+0. Whenever it attacks, tap target creature defending player controls. I'm not very big on this card. It's probably one of the weakest mythics you can play, but that's fine. Now, actually, at the bottom end of this deck, I think is pretty solid. I think pretty much all of this could be changed, except for the Valkyrie Harbinger, I think is actually a good card for this archetype. But down here, it's actually pretty solid. 3 Celestial Unicorns. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on this card. Really good. 3 Kor Celebrants. Whenever this card or another card enters the battlefield, gain a life, turning on all the things we want. 2 Minimus Containment. Enchanted permanent is a treasure. Actually quite good. 1 Righteous Valkyrie. Really good card. Flying 2/4. Whenever another angel or cleric comes into the battlefield, gain life equal to that creature's toughness. Insanely high life gain. And then as long as you have at least 7 life more than your starting life total, creatures you control get +2/+2. Very good finisher. 2 Lurking Roper. This is a 4/5 for 3. It doesn't untap during your untap step, but it does untap when you gain life. Also pretty good. So we have 3 copies of Revitalize. This is just straight up instant speed, gain 3 life, draw a card. 2 Story Seekers. It's a 2/2 lifelink. We have 3 copies of Devouring Tendrils. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. When permanent you don't control dies this turn, gain 2 life. Very solid removal spell actually in this deck. 1 Inscription of Abundance. We get to choose one. We're either putting 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature. We're gaining X life, where X is the greatest power among creatures we control, or target creature fights a creature we don't control. Solid. 2 Prosperous Innkeeper, very good card. It is going to create a treasure and ramp us when it comes in, and then anytime a creature comes in, it's going to gain us a life. And then 2 Trelasarra Moondancer. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Trelasarra Moondancer and scry 1. Really good. 2 Cleric Class. Mostly this gains us extra life when we come in. And then 2 Fortifying Draught. We gain life and get to pump something. So we're going to make really, really minimal cut. We're only going to need 5 commons to make this cut. We're going to add 1 Celestial Unicorn. And to help us out here, we are going to get rid of 1 Pillardrop Rescuer. And then at the 2-drop slot, we're going to get rid of 3 Revitalize. And we're going to get rid of 1 Story Seeker. And we're going to add 4 Ajani's Pridemate. Very, very minimal cuts to this deck. Let's see. I am looking for... I'm guessing the deck is maybe... Aha, Alchemy. I want Explorer. And I want 4 Ajani's Pridemate. Now that's it. We're going to take this with just 5 changes and see if we can win on the ladder in ranked. This is a pretty solid starter deck. I think we're actually going to be able to hang in there with some people. Let's get going and see if we can hang in there. Alright, starting off right off the bat, we see some Celestial Unicorns. The mana base is a little weird, but I think we can keep 2 mana here, even though we're on the play. And I think we're going to risk it, especially since we can play Trelasarra on turn 2. So we are going up against aggro, which should be a good matchup for us, being able to gain a good amount of life. So I'm feeling pretty good, particularly if we can draw a into a third land. I think Innkeeper here makes more sense because Innkeeper and then Trelasarra actually will get to see that life gain next turn when Trelasarra comes in, so it can automatically come down as a 3/3, and I think that will be quite good. We don't need to block here. We're not afraid of this 1 damage. Very good. Another land also could put us in a Celestial Unicorn just to help us ramp out. Would feel pretty good, but it also might just make more sense to go straight to Trelasarra just for that Scry ability to kind of fix our land situation here. Fortunately, they make the mistake of not hitting our Innkeeper, which they don't exactly know what we're doing, but that was a huge mistake in my opinion. 4th land, even though it's tapped, I think is pretty good here. And then we have 1 mana left open and save our treasure to put down that Cleric Class. We're just going to leave our Innkeeper out of combat. We don't need to get into anything too crazy just yet. So our opponent, Salad Boy here, doesn't know we're playing a budget deck that you literally start the game with plus 5 commons. So we'll see if they can handle us here in this game. I think it's worth keeping the Innkeeper. It's going to do a lot of work by gaining us that life. So we're just going to slap this down, put in this Unicorn, and off to the races we go. This does only give us 1 trigger still. It doesn't double our triggers, but it doubles the amount of life we gain. So let's go ahead and take our 1 free damage, I suppose, and see if we can stabilize even farther. Next turn, we also have the option of playing Drizzt, which I think is pretty solid. We get a block on the Robber here with our Unicorn, except for the Lightning Strike is kind of hurts us there, but that's all right. They don't get to draw a card because they had to use that Lightning Strike, so that all feels pretty good. So, we do have 6 mana, so we have a couple options here. We could either put the Unicorn down and start growing, which I think is my play, or we also have the option of playing Drizzt, which is a double striker, would cause a lot of problems, but we can just play that next turn anyway. I think our play here is to hit the Cleric Class. I want to grow this Innkeeper to protect it against shocks and things. Oh, and that cost 4. That is a huge mistake on my part. I thought that costed 3 to go to level 2. Let's see if we can live through my mistakes here. That was probably pretty huge. Innkeeper is really vulnerable to removal now, which is pretty sad. But luckily, Drizzt bringing down 2 creatures is going to be a pretty effective blocker, I think. So I think we're still going to be okay. That is a little sad because that is our one thing doing life gain things for us right now. So hopefully we can find some other life gain somewhere soon. But I think Drizzt, with being a double striker, will do a decent amount of work here for us. So let's start with Drizzt. It gives us 2 creatures for some pretty good blocking. The double strike will be really hard to get through. It has to be a lightning strike. The Bone Crusher Giant side and the regular shock won't do enough work for them. But they're probably going to still go Alpha Strike here, which would make a lot of sense to me. So let's see. Yeah, they're getting a lot of value here. For sure, we're going to block 1 Robber. This goes at the end of combat, I think. Now the question is, do I need to hold up Guinevere for the Crusher Giant? The Giant can also be blocked pretty straight up by Drizzt, so I think we're fine here. If we can draw just 1 card that will actually gain us some life, I think we've got a pretty good chance here. That's not going to help us. 5 mana to bring back an Innkeeper, which I don't quite think is worth it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm actually tempted to bring back the Innkeeper and then play the Pridemate. It's a little silly, but I actually think that that is the way to go. Because we need to get something out here that is going to get us some work, gaining some life. And I think this is actually going to be a pretty good play, even though it seems like a mana negative play. And also, we're just going to get some pretty beefy creatures out here now. We're going to hold back at least 1 more turn for blocking, and then I think we're in a pretty good spot depending on what they play here. I'm feeling pretty decent. We've also got a Unicorn, which is going to gain us a life and get us several counters all over the board, so that's going to feel really good. Lurking Roper is also quite nice in this position. Let's put something right. Let's see. Let's get stuff to 4, because getting to 4 puts you out of lightning strike range. And then let's create a challenging block here. Let's send in just Drizzt, see what they want to do here. I'm feeling pretty decent. They're going to take 8, which is great for us. And then we're going to put down the Lurking Roper, and that should be also very, very good for us. We're going to put a counter here. And I think I'm feeling like we can beat this actual mono red deck with our Selesnya life gain budget deck. Holy cow, we're 1-0. Let's keep rolling, team. Alright, looking at game 2, we can go turn 1 Cleric Class. Turn 2 is a little awkward with this hand, but then going into Unicorn turn 3, holding up a Drought, I think is good enough. Obviously hitting a 2-drop here would be ideal, but we are going to get 2 turns to draw that, so there's a pretty decent chance. We are going up against a mythic ranked player here, so this will be a real challenge, and we're playing completely budget cards, so I'm a little nervous, and I doubt we can really win with this deck, but let's see. We're just putting it to the test, pushing it to its limits, and seeing what can happen. This is a deck, I'm pretty sure, especially if you use the codes, if you just look up free arena codes, they give you 3 packs pretty much for every set since arena's been out. You could easily build this deck with the Ajani's Pridemate and the extra Celestial Unicorn straight out the gate. So if you're really looking, or you know someone that's starting on arena, this is a great place to start if they mostly just care about winning, and that's like their main thing. They want to just grind ladder, they want to be able to get wins. Even though it's not necessarily a meta deck, it's still, I think, going to be able to hold its own. Maybe not all the way in Diamond where we're at now, but certainly could get you all the way through Gold, no problem. It would probably teeter out in about Platinum would be my guess. But we will see what happens. This is going to be just a lot of speed coming at us. I don't know if we can handle the speed with this particular hand that we've drawn. But if we can stabilize and get some life gain, Lurking Ropers is pretty darn solid here as a big fat blocker. Now they're probably going to be able to get these both to 4/4s, but we might have a chance of holding them off. We'll just see what they're able to do here. Also that Preserver, ooh, that's not great. It's going to blow up my sad little Cleric Class here, but I think we have a decent blocker here. So if we can go, if they don't attack here, we can play Unicorn next turn and hold up Fortifying Draught is pretty good. Now that being a 6/6 is pretty hard to deal with, so we're probably just taking 6 here, I would guess. Sure, send in that Pelt Collector. I will take it. Yep. So we're going to take 6, and then we're going to be able to gain 2, give something +2/+2 next turn is the plan. Doesn't make sense for them to send the Pelt Collector, in my opinion. But I guess they're just wanting to squeak through extra damage, so we'll take the free trade. I think that's overall positive for us. And now we kind of... Okay, so now we do have a couple options. We can either... I actually think our play here is to turn this into a treasure. I think that's even better. And then we still get to hold up that Drought. And actually, we can swing in, and we have a fun little play here. We get to actually untap it with the Drought. Because anytime we gain life, we get to untap the Roper, which is going to be excellent. Maybe we can get them, trick them into swinging in with this here. That's great, except that's probably the game because they're going to get to blow up this Minimus Containment and really just crush us. So that's pretty sad they had that specific interaction. I actually felt like we stabilized well there, but it is what it is. Oh, that actually works. So apparently they either misclicked or were not able to target that thing, so that's a little interesting. This is exactly what we wanted, so we're going to do this nifty little play. We gain a little life, we untap the Roper, and we get to take the trade. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Now we're in an awkward position where we really need something to actually gain us more life, and I'm not willing to swing in the Roper right now with no way to untap it. So we're going to hold on and hope they don't have more mutate. Lair of the Hydra also going to put in a pretty solid amount of work here coming in as I think like it can be a 5/5. That is pretty backbreaking for us at the moment. Luckily, they're out of cards in hand, so we could draw out of this. Wow, and they actually give it to us. 2-0. Holy cow, team. Let's keep going. Okay, looking at this opening hand, I think Prosperous Innkeeper into the Pridemate is pretty solid. And then we've got these 2 fight spells to hold on if we can just hang in there. We are just rolling here. We're continuing on in our Diamond ranked games here. So let's go turn 1. We're not doing too much. Pass. See what you got. Keistler. Good luck to ya. So far we see Cynic. This is definitely the probably Teamer Adventures deck. Pretty darn strong deck. Innkeeper. And then I'm debating on whether or not we save this treasure. We probably save the treasure. Cleric Class is nice, but not like absolutely essential. They probably go and get a mountain here, I'm going to guess, to set up all of their Teamer shenanigans. I do quite like the Teamer deck. I'm probably going to feature it here on the channel just because I have a lot of the cards. Innkeeper plus the Lucker Clover. It was a pretty cool deck back in the standard of Eldraine, just because it was so... I usually don't love decks that are super parasitic like that, meaning they have to have all the cards from one set, but Eldraine was just powerful enough that it didn't really matter, and they just got so much value from it anyway, so it didn't really matter. Okay, I think this is a pretty good start. Ajani's Pridemate. Let's see. We're going to go ahead and swing in, and if he's willing to give me the Innkeeper, I will actually take that because that just puts in so much work. I doubt he would be silly enough to trade that, but we're going to go ahead and see if we can get that lucky. Okay, so we're going to do this and carry on. This plus this just gets really pretty ridiculous and is pretty hard to beat, but we'll see what we can do. Innkeeper plus Lucky Clover. I don't know if we have any artifact removal in here. Okay. No artifact removal at the moment. So we'll see where they go with this. The deck's pretty hard to run. It's hard to know when exactly to use what adventures. Like, it's not super straightforward. Especially if you're running the Fae of Wishes with the card that goes and gets stuff out of your sideboard. So we'll see what they're doing here. I'll be curious to see what direction they go. I'm not sure what the decision point for them here is, though. They've got all their colors. They're also playing white, which is confusing to me. So maybe I'm not as familiar, and maybe it's not the Teamer list. This seems to be 4 or 5 color, I guess. So maybe it's just all sorts of adventure stuff. If you're playing Clover, you're running all the adventures. I just don't know what white adventure you are that excited about to be worth playing. Well, I guess you're playing Omnath, so I guess that answers my question, huh? Let's see. Adventure Omnath. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Okay, you got it. So next turn, so I could Fortifying Draught now. Get this to 4. And then next turn, I get to do, I could Kicker the Inscription. And then I could put 2 more counters on it, and I could gain 4 life, and I could have target creature fight the Omnath. Is that good enough? I kind of feel like it's worth it. Let's go. What? I'll be ready by 5:30. Okay, let me finish this game. Okay, so I think we do the plan we had talked about. We're going to kicker this. We're going to do all the options. We're going to put 2 +1/+1 counters here. Target player is going to gain life. Target a creature. Okay, and target a creature and then fight. So, this is going to be pretty good. We're really going all out on getting rid of this Omnath, so hopefully that is enough. But we also got to gain a ton of life, put a bunch of counters. And then we also, I guess we'll just take this token for free. So that's pretty nice. Okay, our opponent is playing real slow here today. Another Innkeeper, that's a problem. Double Innkeeper is a serious problem. At least we have a 7/7 Pridemate. And it doesn't, we haven't seen black yet. They're probably running, I guess they're probably not running black, so we won't have Murderous Rider to deal with, but this just gets out of hand super fast. They're going to get these giant Beanstalker Giants down, and I just don't know if we can beat that, to be perfectly honest. Our Pridemate might be able to get big enough to kill it with the Tendrils, but that's a stretch. That's a stretch. Start here. Okay. And then let's swing in with Pridemate. They'd probably give us an Innkeeper, like trade with an Innkeeper. But they might be willing to take 7. We'll see. Fortunately, that's a sorcery, which is going to be pretty hard to deal with. Sure. Hit the Innkeeper too. Yeah. Take off our life gain. That's pretty sad. They're 1 land away from our giant being too big to Pridemate fight, so that's pretty sad. We really need to draw. I think if I was going to modify this deck even more, I would add a couple more things that actually turn on the life gain. I mean, I'm sure there's actually tons of Selesnya list. This feels like a deck that just runs around all the time anyway. So I'm sure you could actually just go look up a real Selesnya life gain list that runs pretty much all these same things. But this is a good place to start. It certainly doesn't feel like I'm playing a bunch of trash cards. Like it feels a little off being this high in the rank. But I'm hanging in every game, and I genuinely feel like I have a chance to win each of these games here, so that's pretty cool. The card draw in this matchup is going to be what gets us. Yeah, I just don't see... I mean, just gaining 3 cards anytime you cast... Drawing 3 cards anytime you cast a creature is just way too much going on. And we can't even swing in there because they can double block. I think they've just got us. Right? I think they've just got us. Is that right? I guess we just wait one more turn, hope for the best. I think they just have too much value. We're going to have to give it to them. They're really taking their time here. Okay, I'm going to give them the game. That's too much. Let's keep rolling. Okay, moving right along, we're jumping into another game. I think going first, this is a little bit risky, but as always, going turn 2 Pridemate into Innkeeper, I think is just enough for us. So let's go ahead and see if this hand will work out for us. If we can draw a 3rd land, then we're really going to be rolling, but either way, I think the play is Innkeeper into Pridemate, and then probably Valkyrie after that. We are going up against potentially some sort of mirror here. I think Story Seeker is not worth dropping here because it's a little harder to turn on that life gain, whereas the Prosperous Innkeeper is going to guarantee us some life gain on entry for just about, for any creature, of course. So I do hate going up against this deck. If you guys watch the channel much at all, you know Bishop of Wings is probably my most hated card ever. I think it's absolutely stupid that it has 4 toughness at this size. I think it's completely ridiculously unfair, and it's just so boring and terrible to play against. I hate this card. So let's see what kind of life gain shenanigans they have. Gaining 4 life just for playing an angel is absolutely insane. Sadly, we missed the land drop there, so we can't go into Drizzt, which I would have liked to have done. But we can get another life gain trigger. We could play this, which gains us life whenever an angel or cleric comes in, so then we could follow up with this as a cleric, which would gain us a decent amount of life, trying to get us to 27. Or we could play this and try to ramp into Drizzt. I think I'm feeling Valkyrie. Let's do it pre-combat to gain that extra life. Put a counter there, and then we'll swing in with the Pridemate. 4/4 is big enough. They'd have to trade, so I think we're off to a pretty good pace. We'll just see what they have here. What does Book of Exalted Deeds do? At the beginning of your end step, if you gained 3 or more life, create a 3/3 white angel token. That's so easy to do, because this guy turns that on all the time. And then you can pay 3 white, exile this, put an enlightened counter on target angel. It gains you can't lose the game, and your opponent can't win the game. That seems crazy. So this is a terrible combo. I hate this deck. We're probably going to lose. This is not fun. So let's definitely hit this with the Minimus Containment. That helps. Swing in with the 4/4. And just hope that they don't really have any more things they can do as far as angels go. I think that's where we're at the moment. I think playing Story Seeker next turn is pretty good, because that actually, with the Righteous Valkyrie life gain, will get us to 27. And so that will give everything +2/+2 again, so that's pretty cool. He buffs one of these, meaning this is probably a little low. We need to go pretty fast here, because if he starts drawing into a bunch of angels, we probably just lose, which is pretty unfortunate. But right now, I think we're sort of okay. So let's put in the Story Seeker, try to get us to 27. I guess that was a little bit of a mistake because I should have put this Pridemate down first. So that was a little bit of a misplay here, unfortunately. We'll go ahead and swing in with both of these. We've got a pretty good amount of pressure here. And hope that they miss card draw on one more turn. And we're going to be able to do a lot if they miss another Angel or Cleric here. So we shall see. That is an unfortunate little combo. They've got a lot set up that's going to do a lot of work for them. Luckily, we've got 2 Pridemates out, which is doing a lot of work. So we'll see what we can do. We will see what we can do. One card I might consider adding to this would be a Master Symmetrist. That is the thing that gives all your creatures with even the same power and toughness trample. That just gets absurd with these guys, which is really your main win con. Now, the sad part for that would be that it wouldn't work on your unicorns, which are like the other main thing. Seeing Giada is absolutely terrible here. I just don't know if we're going to have enough combo synergy like they do to win the game like they are here. It's just absolutely crazy. That's pretty wild. Yeah, I don't know if that matters or not. We also, not hitting our land drops has kind of hurt us here, because we should have been able to play Drizzt, I mean. Yeah, this is just too much combo-ness. This is just insane. We can't even attack through now. I mean, what's the play here when we're not even hitting lands? I guess swing in with the biggest one and see what happens. I guess we could have probably swung in with the Story Keeper. Getting life gain triggers at this point is pretty solid. But 9 literally is nothing to them. They're at 54. This is awkward. This is quite awkward. I just don't see how we can win this. I guess if we remove Giada, they just have so much synergy where if they draw pretty much any playable cards, they just get to do so much. It's ridiculous. And then they also have the Cleric Class turned on where if we do kill something, they can just bring it back. So that's pretty obnoxious. And we're stuck on 3 lands, so that's pretty tragic. No, we can't even block. Okay. I'm just not talking because I'm bored and I hate playing against this deck. I'm going to draw one more card, and if we don't draw anything meaningful, I'm just going to concede because I hate playing against this deck. It's so boring. It's so boring to play against. There's so many triggers. It just takes forever. I know we're playing essentially the same deck, but adding Giada and the Valkyrie, like, it just gets stupid. Alright, I'm just tired of it. You got it. Let's get another one. Okay, pretty awkward, but I think we're just going to see what happens dropping a Story Seeker going into Unicorn, hoping we draw a green to get down Trelasarra. That would all be pretty good. Love it. That's a perfect draw right there, turn 1. Get our colors on, and then I'm thinking we lead with the Story Seeker since it has that lifelink instead of going Trelasarra second. I think is the way to go. I think you set up your life gain abilities first and then drop your payoffs afterwards. Seems to be the way to go. That seems to be the way to go to me. What are you doing here, Snow-Covered Mountain? I do like the art on these cards. The like full art borderless ones. Just minimal, simple. I love it. I love it. I also love it when our opponents actually play Magic, so I would love for them to play a spell. How many decisions can they have on turn 2? Okay, looks like we're playing Giants Tribal. I want to make a Giant deck work so bad. I think I would go Jeskai so that you could play the Realm Cloak Giants and Agar the Freezing Flame, because the white gives you the one-sided board wipe, destroy all non-Giants, and then Agar is the blue-red one. That is just awesome. So I would probably build Jeskai Giants Tribal. I would love to build that as a commander deck, actually, with Ruhan of the Fomori, if you're a commander player. I think could be super fun. I will probably build that deck someday. There's just always decks in my head, especially for commander, which is my main thing I play offline in paper. It's the only thing I play in paper, actually. But I just love it. Super fun. Now, hopefully, this gets to swing in at least one time. That's pretty sad. That's pretty sad for us. I guess we just curve out and do Unicorn. We're probably going to hit turn 6 Valkyrie Harbinger, though, so that's pretty cool. And it gets to turn on its own thing, because it has 4 power and lifelink. So that can be a game winner in itself, honestly, guys. Seems like we're playing straight Izzet Giants, which is a fun deck. I am a fan. I am a fan. Okay. Eladan. Ball's in your court, bro. Ball is in your court. What do you have for us? Bone Crushy Crushy. It's fine. As long as we can get some life gain turned on. That is a legendary, so I don't want to play 2 of those. We're just going to curve out, play this little guy. That actually ramps us into Harbinger next turn, so that's pretty solid. I think we just let the Unicorn trade with the Giant next turn, probably. I think that seems right. I think that seems right. I mean, our opponent is really taking their time. Yeah, I think we just hold up this as a blocker. Probably gets shocked or stomped. Yeah, that. Same thing. Not surprised, but I think that's fine. We're going to get to slap down a Harbinger next turn and put a lot of pressure on. They haven't really done a lot either. So I think we're actually in a pretty decent place. And then, yeah, blocking that would have been nice. Does that double the damage? Ooh, was not really ready for that. So, don't know if this actually helps us or not, because he just gets to run us over with the Calamity Bearer. Is brutal. Absolutely brutal. So we might actually have to take the trade here, sadly. It's pretty sad. Because this is going to do 8, and this will do 6. Calamity Bearer does a lot of work. A lot of work. So if he swings both, we have to block. Wow. Does it do double-double? Does that work? Yikes. That's crazy. Well, thank you guys for joining me. Let's catch you in the post-game recap. So, checking out the stats, we went 2-3 with this deck, all in Diamond Ranked. I didn't get a ton of games with it because I was just sort of testing it out. We did start off strong and then dropped off really hard, obviously. On the play, we won 2 times, and on the draw, we lost... Oh no, we won, it looks like 1 out of 3 on the draw, and we won 1 out of 2 on the play. So a little better on the play. I do think, actually, if you're playing a budget deck, this is a pretty good option. The green-white stuff has a lot of stuff you can build, and there's a lot to build into. Like, the deck we lost to that had Giada and the Righteous Valkyrie and all that stuff. So if it is a format or an archetype you like, there's plenty of support to build off of if you want to start with this deck. So, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful and inspiring for you. Have a great day, my friend.